So a little bit of teacher talk if you are an elementary teacher and you're considering moving to middle school. I did that this year. This is my first year of teaching 8th grade math. Just some things that I'll share of things that are different, things that I like about teaching middle school in comparison to elementary school. So in elementary school, you teach every subject all day long. It's kind of crazy. Lots to do. In middle school, you don't have to do that. You teach like one subject. There's one prep. I have two things that I teach. I teach 8th grade math, and then but I also teach 7th grade Avid Excel. Way easier to prep. So I really like that. It's so much easier to prep. I feel like there's a lot less babysitting. So when you're teaching elementary kids, like you're like constantly all day with those kids, like helping them with so much. So I feel like there's kind of a lot more babysitting involved in elementary school, whereas in middle school, it's kind of like you have them for that hour of time and then just kind of send them on their way. So that's kind of nice. I'm not like holding their hand, taking them to every class. So I like that release of responsibility where they're more in charge of that. Some things that I noticed that are the same is that middle school kids still can be a little babyish sometimes. And there are definitely those kids that still need their hand held, need lots of like redirects and this is what we're doing and make sure you get your work turned in and make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that. So there's still a lot of that. I think that, that's something that I'm just kind of like, oh man, like you're in middle school, like, and we're still doing this. What are we doing? But I just wanted to share, these are some of the things that I've noticed, and differences. And I will say overall, like I'm happier in middle school than I was in elementary school, just because I like that it just feels so much lighter. I feel like there's a lot less to do. So in terms of like mental capacity, planning, doing things, middle school is easier. But you still get, like the kids that like middle school kids that care, like, in elementary school, when you're gone and you have a sub and you get back, it's like, where have you been? Oh, yay, the teacher's back. Like, we missed you. And it's kind of funny because in middle school, I noticed that same thing happening. So like when I've had subs and I get back, where were you? Why were you gone? Why weren't you here? What were you doing, miss? Like, so it's kind of funny because they're still, even though they're middle school kids, they're still at that age where they care. And it's kind of interesting to see. It's been an interesting experience this year for sure. But if you have questions, put them down below and I will try to answer them as best as I can. If you are someone who's considering moving from elementary school to middle school, let me know. I'm curious to see what questions people have, and I would be happy to answer if you're curious about making this switch yourself. But I will say overall, I'm glad I did it. But let me know if you have questions.